Honestly, I kinda can't believe it took these two this long, but we finally get some explicit content in this chapter! Though, to maintain the PG-13 rating on this channel, I will skip it and continue with the story with the less explicit parts. Of Saints and Sinners by Morningstar Writes. Chapter 28. The Confession. They walk in dead silence as he guides Alastor to the jazz club, and he can practically hear the breeze in the air, rustling the grass beneath them. Usually they would squabble at the speed of light, but he can't bring himself to make conversation. He's a little too nervous about finally showing Alastor that! His confession. When they reach the jazz club, Alastor carefully examines the black and red building. There's a little neon sign that hangs at the front, which contains a detailed depiction of a trumpet. Otherwise, there's barely any indication about what it actually is.
This decor is somewhat different from your usual style.
It's the first thing Alastor's said in the past few minutes, and he turns to Lucifer inquisitively.
Are we still at your place of residence?
Technically, yeah. Lucifer pushes the door open, and they step inside, their footsteps echoing in the darkness. It's impossible to see anything, and so he snaps his fingers, instantaneously igniting every single candle. The dancing flames cast warm shadows across their faces, and the entire place feels cozy in this lighting. Alastor's eyes are fixed on the raised platform at the front. Lucifer had positioned a multitude of instruments on the stage, artfully arranged for easy access.
Oh? A piano? A double bass? Drums?
Alastor points at each one when he says their name.
Have you brought me to a jazz club?
Yeah. Lucifer smiles with relief. At least he knows what kind of establishment it's supposed to be. Want to look around?
A grand tour from the sovereign himself. I suppose that is agreeable.
Wow, you should be grateful that I even offered, bitch.
Begging your pardon, sir.
Alastor bows with mock respect. When he lifts his head up, his eyes dance with glee. Clearly just messing around with them. But Lucifer sticks his tongue out at him anyway. Come on, this way. So, the bar is here. He gestures to the fully stocked counter. The second floor has some more instruments you can play and extra seating. There's a couple of private booths too, and oh, right here is the dance floor. They explore the building together. Embarrassingly enough, Lucifer had made it much bigger and grander than he intended to. But it's deeply inspired by all the things that Alastor likes, and he can hear him give an appreciative hum whenever something strikes his fancy. When they're done, they return to the first floor using the spiral staircase. Alastor wanders towards the bar, leaning over the cocktail counter to touch a whiskey bottle, the same brand they drank at the casino party. He turns it over in his hands, watching as the amber liquid sloshes inside the crystal.
How splendid! You just happen to have a secret jazz club beside your abode?
Alastor relinquishes his hold from the glass and sets it back down.
I must say I am a little wounded that you have been hiding this from me.
He demonstrates his displeasure by using his index finger and thumb, purposely making the distance wide between them. I didn't hide it. Lucifer hesitates here. Should he just brush it off and say that it's always been by his house? Or should he admit that he created it solely for Alastor? He's having second thoughts now, hemming and hawing.
Yes?
Alastor inquires. He doesn't seem disgusted. He actually seems kind of pleased by the place, based on how he continuously examines the jazz lounge. And okay, fine. Lucifer did go through all that effort, so maybe it's time to speak his truth. I made it for you. Alastor tilts his head, not fully understanding.
Interesting. And what did you make for me?
This building. This whole... Lucifer waves a hand, his words failing him. Everything. Alastor's eyes widen. Keeps quiet. Places a hand on a lacquered chair before he pulls it out to sit down. He's still as a statue, and his lack of a verbal response makes Lucifer prattle on in shaky bursts. Well, I figured you like jazz. You like performing music. You like being a walkie-talkie mystery, so now you could just disappear here for a few hours, and that way people can wonder, gee, where'd that bellhop go, right? His laughter fades, and he's faced with the uncomfortable feeling that maybe... Oh, shit! He hates it. It's too much, right? Lucifer hesitantly sits across from him, watching as Alastor puts his hand over his face. Not a good sign, right? Probably not. Is it bad? He asks, his voice small. Like,
It is many things, Lucifer.
Alastor cuts him off, fast and hurried.
But it is certainly not bad.
Hearing his name uttered from Alastor's lips shouldn't delight him this much, but it does. Sends tingles all the way down his spine. He waits as Alastor mulls over what to say, and he can practically see the gears grinding away in his head.
Truthfully, no one has ever gone to such lengths for me.
Alastor speaks haltingly, short sentences that he forces out of his mouth.
I must admit, I am rather...
And then he winces, putting his hand on his head. A familiar gesture. Lucifer immediately leaps out of his chair and rushes over to him, debating where he should put his hand. It's a mystifying solution. Every time he looks like he's in agony, it seems that a light touch helps ease the pain. Maybe his head, then? He gently runs his fingers through Alastor's soft hair, and like clockwork, it does the trick. Alastor lets out a sigh of relief and leans his head further into Lucifer's palm. The action catches him by surprise, and it's so goddamn endearing, he almost wants to weep. Alastor's words are a bit strangled.
I will confess that I am rather...
He inhales sharply, exhales fully, and then...
I am quite moved.
You like it? Lucifer asks, hope audible in his voice.
Well, you did fashion it to my taste.
That's pretty much Alastor's way of admitting he does indeed like it, so Lucifer will take it. He continues to talk, sounding smoothly conversational. He's back to normal, it seems.
I assume you left in order to create this, then?
Lucifer drops his hand, and Alastor raises his head when the physical contact disappears. Well, kinda. I have another part.
Is that so?
He looks intrigued.
What other spectacles shall you show me tonight?
One sec. Lucifer strides towards the podium. He can feel Alastor's eyes hot on his back as he climbs onto the stage, struggling a little as he hoists himself up onto the edge. Geez, why did he make it so tall? He clambers on anyway, standing at the center of the stage, adjusting his hat, smoothing down his vest, buttoning up his jacket.
Are you quite finished?
Alastor calls out, voice echoing. Just wait! Lucifer yells back. He claps his hands together, and a spotlight flicks on, shining on top of them. Always gonna have a little oomph. Should he throw in some glitter? A fog machine? Lasers? He shakes his head vigorously. Okay, enough. That's definitely too much. Grabs the microphone and starts speaking energetically as though he were the host of a musical show. Thanks for coming to my performance. Alastor lets out a snort, but he watches with close attention. I'll be playing a song tonight. This goes out to the rudest jerk in the entire universe. Who could that be, you ask? Well, he's here with us tonight. Another spotlight shines on Alastor, who looks thoroughly amused, and he splays his fingers against his chest in an elegant manner.
Ah, yes. How kind of you. But I will have to turn down that title, for you are clearly the reigning champion.
Hear that, everyone? Check out how modest he is. Alastor barks at a laugh now, an uncontrolled sound that slips out from his mouth. Okay, but enough about him. Lucifer continues, materializing his violin in an arc of gold. You're here to hear me play, right?
Indeed.
Alastor laces his fingers together underneath his chin.
Well, this will certainly be a sight to see.
Shh. Lucifer places a finger on his lips. Show's starting. And he really does cease talking, waiting expectantly for Lucifer to begin. He looks up at the spotlight, trying to calm his nerves. It's all good, he thinks. Just breathe. The world slows down and fades away into silence. Lucifer rests his violin onto his collarbone, grips the neck of the instrument. He lifts up his violin bow, drawing out the first note. It's purposefully prolonged, a deeply rich sound. As Lucifer peeks over at him, he's struck with the startling intensity of Alastor's single-minded gaze, focusing on him with such concentration he almost falters. He turns aside to sink back into the music, and he plays, and plays, and plays. When he pulls the bow, arco, Alastor stares at him enraptured. When he plucks the notes, pizzicato, Alastor drums his fingers on the table to the beat. The music swells bewitchingly. It's got everything he's feeling imbued within it. The uncertainty, the devotion, his insecurity, his hope. But most importantly, it's a ballad for romance, the musical score of his resolve. As he draws out the last note, he sweeps his bow to the side, heart thumping in his throat, anxiously anticipating Alastor's reaction. "So, that's the end," Lucifer manages to say. The microphone sounds deafening in the quietude, and Alastor looks startled out of his reverie. "Tips are always appreciated." He places his hat down jokingly and waves his violin away. Instead of getting off the stage, he sits on the edge of it, swinging his legs in the air. Waiting. And waiting. And Alastor walks over, stands right in front of him. They're at the same eye level for once, and now Lucifer is the recipient of his full undivided attention. Alastor drops a few coins into the hat on the ground. Clink, clink, clink. And then he leans on his radio cane, body angled towards Lucifer.
"You never told me you were proficient in jazz,"
Alastor says quietly, and he hums the melody.
"Admittedly, it is quite an exquisite tune. Who is it by?"
Lucifer points at himself.
"Me. I composed it."
Alastor blinks owlishly, bereft of speech once again. Lucifer's not sure if this was good or bad.
"And I wrote it for you,"
he continues, feeling more and more awkward by the second.
"That's why I was gone for so long. I couldn't make it sound right, and then Sarah gave me some tips, actually, so she really helped me with it, and..."
He can't stand Alastor's silence anymore, anxiety winning against him.
Can you say something?"
Alastor starts at this. His eyes dart back and forth, purposefully avoiding Lucifer's gaze, and his whole body language has become an indecipherable puzzle. Eventually, he shoots him a cryptic smile.
"You put in every bit of effort when it matters, don't you?"
Alastor speaks deliberately, evenly.
"You really do go all out."
His stare is laden with meaning, something Lucifer can't quite piece together yet.
"Well, yeah."
He swallows, and God, the air is so oppressive.
"I needed this to be perfect."
"And?"
"And what?"
"Based on how the rest of today has gone, surely this is not all."
Alastor presses.
"You have called me here for a purpose?"
Right, this was all just a drum roll, the build-up to the real reason why he had created all this for Alastor. And so Lucifer pulls out some folded pieces of paper. Alastor is a bit odd, to say the least. He did all this for me simply because I like it? Alastor had always struck deals with the expectation of receiving something in return, but Lucifer, he gives, and he gives, and he gives. He's always been this way, helping Alastor in the past just because. His unshakable sincerity catching him off guard time after time. It's part of his allure. Alastor can't deny it at this point, no matter how much he wants to. But all of a sudden, the world feels rather breathtaking. How very unfamiliar. Lucifer clears his throat, and he waves the papers in his hand graciously.
"I wrote down some things to say, but, none of these words seem to make any sense."
"Is that so?"
Alastor stretches his arm to grab it, but Lucifer yanks it out of reach.
It's embarrassing, alright? Don't look at it.
Now, those words were meant for me, are they not?
Alastor sounds petulant even to his own ears, and Lucifer looks at him quizzically.
Whoa, are you... Is this your version of pouting?
I don't pout.
Alastor narrows his eyes, but this only makes Lucifer laugh. A lovely sound that echoes all around them.
Okay. My bad. You don't pout, you just sulk.
Well, don't you hide in your room whenever you need respite?
You hide in your radio tower.
Alastor growls, unable to retaliate, and so he pivots the topic.
Tell me what you wrote.
Lucifer's smile turns into a smaller, nervous grin.
Right.
He smooths out his paper worriedly.
Alastor.
Yes?
Lucifer rolls his eyes, but continues.
I want to tell you something.
He pauses here, his cheeks turning red. Always a welcome sight, in Alastor's opinion. Oh God, this is torture!
On the contrary, I am having the time of my life.
Alastor sings. Lucifer sends him an unimpressed look, but then he refers back to his notes.
To be honest,
he grips the paper tighter, crinkling it in his hands.
I've gone through a lot of tough situations.
They're both absolutely silent at this disclosure. Alastor stands up straighter, his dear ears upright, listening. And then Lucifer takes in a breath, steeling himself.
There's been some good with the bad, of course. I was pretty damn happy for a while. But then it all disappeared, and I felt like a failure. Even just living, breathing, existing. It was tiring. Really, really tiring.
He sighs at this before folding the paper in half, like he's going off script.
But then things began to look up. I was reunited with my daughter. I finally started sleeping properly. I was helping out with the hotel. And I met some great people.
He pauses here.
And one jackass.
And who are you referring to, exactly?
Alastor plays along, which makes Lucifer chuckle.
He's charming, and he knows it. Conceited, but for good reason. Jeez, Alastor, you were such a pain. Actually, you still are, by the way.
Lucifer taps his finger on Alastor's jacket lapel, a gossamer touch.
Even so, I started liking you, and everything in my life has been so difficult. But being with you, learning about you, and then falling for you.
His golden eyes fixate on Alastor, piercing and true.
It's the easiest thing in the whole world.
Lucifer confesses gently, softly, barely perceptible even within the silence of the room, but it resonates loudly in Alastor's mind. And his breath hitches, heart stutters, and he puts his hands down on either side of Lucifer, right onto the stage, leans in, and now there's only the tiniest margin between them. Feels a slight exhale.
Lucifer,
Alastor breathes out.
you really are something else.
So were you?
Lucifer replies, lips tucking into a smile. Beautiful, Alastor thinks, and he has no choice but to give in. He surges forward, momentum so strong he topples Lucifer backwards right onto the stage, and Alastor crawls on top of him to kiss him, capturing his lips in a contact that is so bruising, blistering, burning, it sets him on fire and makes him want to tear his jacket off. Kissing is even better the second time around, and Lucifer tosses his papers in the air, too wrapped up in kissing back to care about keeping things organized. It flutters around them like white flower petals, but Alastor barely even registers this because as his lips are on his... Something's in the way! This bow tie that Lucifer's wearing! Alastor yanks it off in one smooth motion, exposing his pale neck. He touches it with a hand, runs his fingers down the column of his throat, and the memory of tasting Lucifer's skin floods his mind, and now he has a single thought only. I want a taste. I want it. I want it. I want it. And then his want turns into a need, turns into a must. His tongue darts out, and he slowly licks up Lucifer's throat.
Whoa!
Lucifer gasps, hands digging in so hard it tears right through Alastor's jacket.
Fuck, sorry. Your coat.
He doesn't even register the apology, and he licks upwards again, draws his tongue as slow as possible. He feels Lucifer's shuddering body underneath him, and it's all so very satisfying, so very delicious. He's wanted to do this since he had a taste of Lucifer's skin up in heaven, and it's as wonderful as he remembered. The whole confession was pretty successful in Lucifer's opinion. Alastor seemed to like his gift overall, and obviously kissing him was pretty fantastic. He still can't believe that that's something they do now. The two of them. Kissing? What? Still, though, he's a little worried about Alastor's reaction at the end. Lucifer glimpses over at him. They're sitting on the platform, both with their legs crossed, knees slightly bumping against each other. Lucifer trails off, not knowing how to bring it up. Shit, how is he still like this, even after they've known each other for all these months? Actually, scratch that. It's been almost a year at this point. Alastor turns to look at him, his crimson eyes unflinching.
Will you ever finish your sentence?
I will!
Lucifer yells immediately, an automatic reaction.
I just wanted to know if you're okay.
If I'm okay.
Alastor says, sounding disbelieving.
I am always in exemplary condition.
I know that. I mean,
His dear ears flatten, and Lucifer hastens to explain himself.
You can't just let me know if it's...
I am perfectly fine, Lucifer.
Alastor says flatly, his tone warning him to drop it.
More than fine, so do not fret about it.
Lucifer opens his mouth and then closes it. Okay. There's not much more to say then. Not when Alastor's face shudders like that. Not when he turns away, unwilling to explain.
Perhaps we should head back separately,
Alastor says instead.
It would be far too suspicious if we were to arrive at the same time,
Lucifer nods, and he gets up from the floor. It's not a big deal, and it makes sense for them to do that anyway. He's about to create a portal when he realizes that Alastor is still sitting down on the ground, staring off into the distance. He says he's fine, but he doesn't seem to be okay. After a beat, Lucifer reaches his hand out to him, who stares at it, unmoving.
What's this now?
Alastor asks, a little perplexed.
Just wanted to help you up.
Lucifer turns his sentence into a question. He can kind of understand Alastor at this point, but he's still a little bit of an enigma to him, although Alastor's always been rather prideful about these things. He never wants to be perceived as weak. Surely he knows by now that Lucifer's not looking down on him. Right? Maybe not, because Alastor still gazes at his hand with a strange look on his face. Lucifer sighs, about to put his arm down, but that's when Alastor lifts his hand up, and he gestures with it impatiently.
Well?
Alastor raises an eyebrow.
Be of use to me then.
You just love ordering me around, don't you?
Lucifer grumbles, but he wraps his fingers around Alastor's palm. They clasp each other firmly, and even after he helps him up to his feet, they keep their hands together like that. A lingering touch, neither of them wanting to separate.
What are you waiting for? Get out of here.
Lucifer is the first to go, because if he doesn't, he'll probably do something ridiculous, like kiss him or something. And they've already kissed once today. He has some doubt that Alastor would want to do it again. Alastor dithers for a moment, but then nods.
Leave after 10 minutes.
And then he disappears into a shadow. Once he's gone, Lucifer sighs and crouches down. He still has to work on composing the piano accompaniment for him. He's familiar enough with the piano, but unfortunately he's not as skilled with it, especially when compared with Alastor. Oh well, I'll give it a go. But at the thought of Alastor, he can't help but think about everything that's happened tonight. Alastor's mouth, Alastor's tongue on his neck, Alastor's body pressed against his. Alastor. Oh, God. Lucifer runs his hands through his hair, absolutely mortified by his train of thought.
He's got me all fucked up.
It's with a heavy heart that Alastor teleports back to the hotel, and it's made especially worse because he arrives in the middle of one of Charlie's monologues. So in a few days we will... Oh, Alastor! Charlie gestures him over. Great timing! I have some exciting news for the hotel. But first, have you seen my dad?
I don't recall being his caretaker.
Alastor replies breezily. He walks over to stand beside Husk, who gives him a look of confusion.
The hell happened to your jacket?
Alastor glances down and, oh, right! Lucifer had torn it with his bare hands, leaving rips that extended from his shoulders to his chest. He snaps his fingers, whisking his overcoat away to his bedroom.
Oh, I just got into a scuffle. Nothing I couldn't handle. I shall mend it later.
Husk still seems suspicious, but not enough to continue questioning him. They all turn to look at Charlie, whose enthusiasm spills out of her like unbridled sunshine. So, like I mentioned, we actually got a few people interested in the hotel. They're these tiny little... They're like Nifty-sized. Charlie points to Nifty, who beams at the attention. All these spots without anyone coming, and now we've finally got a few sitters. That's wonderful, babe. Maggie smiles. What should we do then? I was thinking, why don't we show them around, let them enjoy themselves, but also think of some ways to all bond and have fun together. If we lead some different exercises for them, they can slowly learn how to be better people. The only exercise I do, Charlie, is in the bedroom. Angel thus sounds rather miffed. You better not be thinking of having us work all day. That wouldn't be fun for those little Nifty demons either. No, of course not. And they don't actually look like Nifty. They're just around her height. Charlie insists. I don't want to scare them away. I just think that if we show them the ropes, it would be easier for them to get used to hell. We'll figure out the self-improvement part later.
Oh, Charlie, are you finally embarking on your hopeless plan?
Alastor cackles at this.
What a hilarious notion.
Hilarious or not, Alastor, can you pitch in this time? Charlie asks, and Maggie elbows her. He works here, Charlie. Just order him to do it.
No need for orders.
Alastor twirls his radio cane.
I will contribute. I am rather fascinated by what useless scheme you have cooked up this time, my dear.
It's the truth, at least. He's stuck around the hotel for this long. Why not watch and see how Charlie's plans unfurl? Thank you, she says utterly, and then turns to the rest of the hotel staff. Okay, see you later, everyone. I'll hand out a schedule once I'm done making one. For now, let's clean up the place.